Men think they're entitled to have sex with us. I disagree. My dating life is what I like to call a New York minute. It's over as fast as it started. I've been divorced for 5 years, and during those 5 years, I've gone on a lot of dates. One of the first set of dates after my divorce actually resulted in a relationship that lasted 5 months. We were exclusive, and I still don't know why we broke up, but we're still friends. After that, it was a series of dating men who were dating other people, men who didn't know what they wanted and going through a lot of nice to meet yous before being ghosted a few weeks later. If you've been living under a rock and are unfamiliar with the term ghosting, it's the act of what I like to call wasting someone's time by going out with them for a few days, weeks, or months, and then disappearing without an explanation. Yes, sadly, in these very modern times where people are free to speak their minds and open communication is encouraged, there are still adult men and women running around out there going out with people and then disappearing without even as much as a text or call. I've been ghosted a few times, and after each encounter, I do a sort of self-reflection and ask myself, was I too interested? Was I not interested enough? Or was I too crazy? Was I? All the was as I asked myself did not prepare me for the realization that the majority of men who ghosted me did so because they tried to have sex with me, and I didn't have sex with them on their timeline. In other words, I wasn't ready, and they weren't ready to wait around until I was. I like sex as much as the next person, and I could have sex with someone I just met or have sex with someone after a few days, weeks, or months of dating. There is no timeline that I set. It's done when I'm ready. Unfortunately, this is not good enough for someone who feels entitled to my vagina from the minute they buy me a drink. Let's take Joe, for example. I met Joe, not his real name, online, and we talked on the phone and went out for a little over a month before he ghosted me. Joe was a nice guy, older Southern man who was polite, kept a good conversation, and didn't mind hanging out with my friends. I should mention that I'm always attracted to older guys because I feel they may be more mature and safer. Sadly, this is untrue. So let's bust that myth down right now. If a guy is immature, he'll show you his immaturity regardless of his age. Anyway, back to Joe. During the second week of seeing each other, on the second date, Joe made it clear he was interested in sex and a long-term relationship. We seemed to be on the same page with that, so we proceeded. By the end of the first month of seeing each other, we had only hung out alone once, and the other 2 times we were with my friends. So I invited him to my home for dinner. Somehow, Joe took this invitation as an invitation to have sex and went straight for dessert as soon as dinner was over. And in dessert, I meant trying to take my clothes off. I somehow averted this and suggested we sit and chat. 5 minutes into the conversation, I realized he had no interest in talking to me and had one thing on his mind. I made an excuse about getting up for work early the next day, and he left. You can imagine what came next, right? Yep, he ghosted me. He made plans for dinner 3 times with me after that. The first 2 times he canceled. The third time he didn't even bother to cancel. He just didn't show up to get me, didn't call, didn't answer my text asking if we were still on for dinner. So here's the thing about Joe. The more I went over my experience with him, the more I could see this sense of entitlement he had, that he felt he was entitled to have sex with me because he spent money to take me out once. And on the times we hung out with my friends, he footed part of the bill. I recall a conversation I had with Joe one weekend after we had not seen each other. I called to chat and he asked what I was up to, and I explained I was home relaxing with my son. Joe said he had thought about inviting me to his house for brunch, but he was unsure of my schedule, so he didn't ask. I explained to him that he should have asked because if we're trying to get to know each other, then spending time doing things with each other like brunch and going out to movies, dinner, etc., are some of the ways we can learn more about each other. It was then he indicated he wasn't too keen on going out and taking women out to different places because they string him along and don't really want him or have sex with him. I assured Joe that wasn't the case with me, and I was genuinely trying to get to know him, and we moved on with the conversation. In retrospect, what I should have asked Joe during that conversation was, how do you know the woman isn't interested? Is it because she hasn't had sex with you yet after you've taken her out a few times? When do you think you are entitled to have sex with her? Why do you even feel you are entitled to have sex with her? Is it because you spent some money taking her out for a meal that you feel this sense of entitlement? True to his word, every invitation I got from Joe after that conversation was to do something at his house, breakfast, cocktails, you name it, and it could be done at Joe's. I started to make excuses about going to his house until I had the idea to invite him to mine instead, because I felt it was an environment I could control, and I would get to see if he really was just all about the sex. Well, we know how that ended. The truth is, I liked Joe. I honestly wanted to see how far things would go with him, but I just wasn't ready to have sex with him. It had nothing to do with him spending his money or us going out, and everything to do with him not showing a genuine interest in me, the individual. You ask Joe why he super liked my Tinder profile. He'll tell you about my thighs he noticed in my beach shorts photo in my profile, but nothing about what I actually wrote in the profile. Joe was interested in all the physical things about me, but wasn't really getting to know me, the person. He could tell you about my lips and how beautiful he thought my eyes were, and how much he loved my natural hair, but nothing he learned about me in the conversations we had on the phone, where I did the calling and most of the talking, because he said he liked to listen. I was waiting to see him show that he was interested in more than the physical things about me before I had sex with him. To me, that would reveal he was interested in more than the sex. I was waiting to see if he'd take the initiative to call me in the evenings instead of me calling to see how his day went. I guess I was waiting for him to be someone he clearly wasn't, and all he was waiting on was for me to have sex with him. So, here's the thing. I know men think that all vaginas are the same, and if I don't give it up, they'll just move on to the next one. That may be true, but that still does not make me minimize the value I have for myself and be intimate with someone before I'm ready to. If you're not willing to wait around for when I'm ready, then you're not worthy of me, and you've done me a favor by ghosting me. I've met a number of very nice men. We go out. We have drinks, dinner. They show an interest in me and my life. But I've also met men like Joe who don't want to put in the effort and still expect me to have sex with them. Believe it or not, some men believe that if they so much as buy you a drink, they have the right to get into your pants. But here's the thing about that. I am the owner of said pants. So you'll first have to show me that you're deserving of that entry. The pussy doesn't decide, I do.